Hi everyone, looks like we're live. It's morning here in California. It's just about 8 in the morning, so I just woke up. I watched Emily DiDonato's tutorial on glum makeup today in the morning and decided to recreate it. Seems like it worked out. I'm not sure how glum it is, but I think I look fine. Okay, let's see. Okay, we have two viewers. There is a chat, guys, on the right side of this live. So feel free to drop a message, say hi in this chat, and I'm going to be answering the questions that were dropped in the community post here on YouTube. Let me show you. Let's see. I have my Emily DiDonato's makeup here that I was trying to recreate. But yeah, here yesterday I posted on the community tab on YouTube asking you guys for questions. So I'm going to go through questions here, and also I have a question sticker mark here on Instagram, so I'm going to go through questions there as well. Before we get started, I would love for you guys to give me to say hi on the chat to see if we can get started and if we have enough people interested in hearing the answers to the questions. So please say hi in the chat here. Oh, nice. Someone's saying hi. Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the feedback. I will get started. Okay, question number one. My question is, it's coming from Govind. Oh, someone's saying, hey, Luba. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for joining this live. Okay, we have 20 people already. Awesome. Okay, so Govind is saying, hey, Luba, my question is how to stay motivated while learning to code, because sometimes it's hard to concentrate on coding for me. Love from India. Thank you for the question, Govind. I get this question a lot. It's definitely hard. It can be definitely hard to stay motivated throughout learning a new skill, and especially with coding can be very, very frustrating from time to time. So I remember when I was learning, I had so many moments where I was thinking I was just not cut for it. It wasn't something that I was naturally talented at. But one thing that you should definitely remember with anything that you're trying to learn is that people who are just relying on talents, they're only going to get so far. It's all about persistence, hard work, again, staying focused and motivated. And how you keep motivated in a time when you feel frustrated is just giving yourself smaller tasks, good time management or organization, and just making yourself do the thing, and maybe do a little less when you're less motivated, but still staying consistent and staying true to your schedule and desire to learn. So as long as you stay consistent and you do small things day by day, week by week, that's how you're going to make progress. And motivation ebbs and flows. You should not rely just on your motivation. You should create motivation through the environments that you surround yourself with. I read this really great book. It's called Willpower Doesn't Work. It essentially talks about the philosophy of how it's the environments that shapes our habits and shapes our skills and behaviors. And it's not just the intrinsic, hey, this is me, this is what I believe in, hence I should be able to do this. So shape the environment in a way where you're able to stay consistent and true to learning a new skill. I'm seeing a bunch of messages here on the chat. I really appreciate your guys' feedback. Oh, someone's asking if I'm from Russia. Your name sounds like a Russian name. I am from Belarus, actually. So yes, my name is a Russian name indeed. A lot of people are saying hi. Okay, cool. I will move on with the questions here, and then I will go back to the live chat to see what's there. Okay, so someone is asking, the Redstone Boat, nice nickname, is asking, did you live on Res when you attended University of Waterloo? So for those of you who don't know my story very well, I went to University of Waterloo, which is in Canada, to study chemical engineering, and there I, on my own, learned how to code. So when I was in University of Waterloo, I lived in Res for half a year. Why half a year and why I'm laughing is because I was supposed to live on campus for the whole year. So that's how it usually works. You come to university, you sign your contract to be in a campus res for a year, but I only decided to stay for one term. And the reason being because I was an international student and I was very, very mindful of how much money I spent. So I realized that living on campus was kind of more expensive than moving out. So I decided, hey, I'm going to break this lease on campus, because even with breaking the lease and paying the fine, I will be paying less than moving off campus. So I decided to make this adult decision of moving off campus to save money. And honestly, looking back, it was not a good decision at all. Found a really bad place, like living with a family that had 3 kids. And yeah, it was really, really far from campus. Waterloo is a really small city, and I lived like 30 minutes by bus away from campus, and it was winter as well. So looking back, it was quite a bad decision. Also on campus, you are able to meet more people, and again, as an international student, that was something that was very important. But I decided to make that adult decision to move out, and I just stuck to it and moved in that shitty place 30 minutes away from campus. So yes, I did live for some time in res. I also lived in a residence called Velocity when I was in third and fourth year. It's this entrepreneurial residence on campus. But yeah. Okay, Gigi is asking, I'm interested in games and AI where mathematical knowledge is required. I skipped it when I was a student, so have to relearn. Please help me with. Oh my God, sorry, having troubles reading this question. Please tell me the tips to learn while keeping motivation. Wow, lots of questions on motivations. Seems like I need to make a separate video on just how to keep motivated, and perhaps that's something that I should make. Actually, if you guys in the chat think that would be useful, drop me a thumbs up. If there is at least 3 people that are thumbing up, that then I'll make this motivation video. But yeah, honestly, I kind of already answered the question about motivation. Give yourself set yourself a schedule for how you're going to approach learning mathematics in this case, because the person who's asking the question wants to learn AI and games. So yeah, just do the small steps and schedule yourself for doing the small steps to brush up on your mathematics skills, and that's how you're going to keep motivated. Okay, so Manuel Cabrerizo, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, is asking, do you have a boyfriend? Yes, I do. Okay, we'll skip next. Okay. Hi, Luba. I found a university in California which is offering me a bachelor degree online program in computer science. How could I verify if this university is accredited and if this could be valid to work in California and the rest of the US? The name of this university is University of the People. On the verification front, I would just Google, like, is this university legit? Is this university verified? Try to find reviews. Try to find people on LinkedIn who went to this university. Just reach out to them, ask them how their experience was. And in terms of the title could be valid to work in California and the rest of the US. It really is dependent on your personal situation, whether you're an immigrant or not. Of course, if you're an immigrant, your university has to be accredited and you have to have a degree that would be in consistent with the job that you're going to get. So that is very important. So if you have that, then I would say you're fine. But of course, you need to look at your individual work status situation. Okay. Mohimim Islam is asking, hey, Luba, I'm from Michigan, majoring in computer science. How are you doing during COVID-19? Which program you learned at first to get a job at Airbnb? Great question. So in terms of COVID-19, I'm doing fine. I actually enjoy the quarantine. I kind of like staying home. I feel very, very productive. I've learned a lot of new things about myself personally that in reality I can actually work from home. Before, I thought that I had to have a lot of people around me to stay motivated and to be productive, but it's completely different. I also am enjoying to have a little more time to read and to really, really pursue what I wanted to learn before. Taking some online courses, I'm working on a side project, so I'm keeping very, very busy. So overall, I'm doing fine. I'm productive, and I'm enjoying the time just staying in, to be honest. And for program that I learned at first to get a job at Airbnb, I think you're asking about the programming language. At the time, I knew Java and a little bit of Ruby on Rails. And I first interned at Airbnb on an Android team. And then I joined Airbnb full time. And then I joined a risk team. So I was working on fraud. Okay, Renata Shamsuddinova is asking, hey, I'm thinking to pursue web development versus computer science. What would you suggest? In the future, I'm looking to be exposed in business development, however, get in tech with programming knowledge, and from then move into business side of things. Great question, Renata. It can definitely be tough to figure out which degree would be the most relevant, especially considering there are so many variations of things that teach you to code right now. There's computer science, there's software engineering, there's computer engineering, there is electrical engineering, there's web development, mobile development, and it can be overwhelming to figure out which one is the right one for you. I would I would urge you to think like this. How many years do you want to get a job? Because I would imagine that your web development program perhaps is shorter than computer science program, because computer science program sounds more like a theoretical university program that you would take if you were to get a bachelor's degree, informatics and computer science. So if you have a lot of time on hand, computer science definitely gives you those theoretical fundamentals, which allows you to have a skill to learn any kind of programming language, concepts. I don't know if you want to get into like AI or machine learning or anything that's hot and trendy in the moment, because you understand the foundation of how the actual science works. You would be very fit for picking up a new skill quickly. I would say web development is definitely more narrow in towards that specific area. So probably learn everything about web development, but you will not learn as many foundational things about computer science in general. Probably don't dive deep as much into algorithms. In a computer science class, they teach you some really low level stuff of like how to build a compiler and stuff. So web development would be definitely probably more applicable and practical right off the get go, but it will not give you that foundational knowledge. You did say that you wanted to get into business development afterwards, so it seems to me like being really versatile programmer and being able to cut your teeth in any programming skills is not a top priority for you. So perhaps web development in this case would be the right thing to go, because then you can get a web development job, and then you can start learning the business skills, and start getting opportunities that are more aligned with that direction that you want to go in. And so you still will have some of that foundation of, hey, I was a programmer, I was a web developer, but then it will allow you to move into the business side of things. So I would urge you to think about the timeline. I would urge you to think about how much theory and transferable knowledge you want to have afterwards. I would urge you to think about the money that you have to spend on the program. If computer science degree is much more expensive and much longer than the web development program, perhaps the web development is the right thing to do. Okay. Okay, let's see. We have some questions that were dropped on Instagram, so let me go through those. Okay, here they are. Okay, Ilya Maxiu is asking about a great hackathon to attend in the Bay Area. So one caveat, it depends on whether you're a student or not. There is a great hackathon in Berkeley happening for students every single year. And in general, I would recommend you to go to mlh.com, majorhackleague.com. It actually congregates all the hackathons around the world, and you can filter by country, by the type of a hackathon, by whether you have to be a student or not. So if you're a student, lots of universities are hosting hackathons. If you are not a student, and one thing that comes to mind is Money 2020 happening in Vegas. If you're interested in financial services, I know that is an amazing hackathon with some great prizes. But I would recommend you to check out MLH and see and filter out for different hackathons. MLH is basically a league that certifies hackathons, and they help out with organizations. So they're a very trusted resource to figure out where to go for a hackathon. Okay, so someone is asking, what's the importance of TOEFL or any exam to proficiency when it comes to get a job in the US? Honestly, TOEFL, and I believe you're asking about TOEFL. No, actually, he's not asking about TOEFL. TOEIC. Do you guys know what TOEIC is? Let me Google it. TOEIC test. Sets the standard. Oh, assessing English language skills. Okay, so it is the same as TOEFL. Okay, so it's honestly mostly important for visa purposes. In your actual job, of course, you got to be able to have good written and communication skill, but usually you take the exam to get a working permit. So it is absolutely important for the working permit, because that is a part of your visa application. But outside of that, the employer themselves, especially in technical jobs, they don't check your English proficiency scores. Okay, someone is asking, how many hours did you study per week when you were a beginner? I studied quite a lot every single day. When I was done with my school classes, I went to the library to study how to code and to work on my side project. So I would spend on average 4 to 5 hours a day, sometimes less, of course, if I was busy. Engineer, thank you. Great question. I think that if you are UX and UI designer first and you want to become a software engineer, you honestly have quite a leg up, especially if you want to become a front end engineer, because front end engineers with a design eye are priceless. So if you want to do that, I would recommend you to start taking online courses. Coursera and Codecademy are my favorite ones. Pick up a side project that you want to build. Learning through doing is the best way to learn anything. So if you're a designer, I don't know, design maybe a mobile app, or even start with your own portfolio website and just set yourself a goal to build it yourself. Through that, you're going to learn a ton. And then if you actually want to get a full-time job as a software engineer, I recommend boot camps. It's usually 8 to 12 week program where they will really, really intensely teach you how to code and actually also teach you how to pass interviews and help you out with the job search process. So if you have the time and the money to spend on a boot camp, I think that's a great way to accelerate the process of learning as well. Okay. Lucas is asking, would you tell us the story of your life, like a biography? Sure, I'm happy to. So I'm originally from Belarus. It's a country in Eastern Europe. When I was back there, I was having a hard time which science exactly I wanted to dive deep in. Really wanted to participate in Olympiads because that was a thing to do, and that was a way to really deep dive into participate in chemistry. So I dove really deep in chemistry. Went to a bunch of Olympiads on that, and did conferences, including international conferences. And the reason why I picked then chemical engineering in University of Waterloo when I went to Canada was because I was already so involved in chemistry. So I thought that, hey, instead of doing something theoretical, I got to do something practical. So I decided to take on chemical engineering. And so I moved from Belarus to Canada to pursue that degree. While I was still back in Belarus, I was also very involved in singing opera, and that's something that I'm still doing. And yeah, I did that since the age of 10. And when I went to university in Canada, I still continued singing. I wanted to perform anytime there was an opportunity to do so. So outside of, studying my degree, I did that. But in Canada, I realized that chemical engineering wasn't actually something that I wanted to pursue full time. And the reason I had that realization is because I did 2 internships as a chemical engineer, because University of Waterloo is actually really famous for its co-op program, which means that to pursue and to finish a bachelor's degree, you have to complete 5 internships in the real world. So honestly, guys, if you're at the stage where you're picking a university, I would definitely recommend you to look at universities that have co-op programs, because I think that ability to apply the things that you're learning in school and really see what the real world is like, because I strongly believe that, school is school, you learn a bunch of theory, but the real world can be completely different, is that opportunity is incredible. So I did 2 internships as a chemical engineer, realized it wasn't my cup of tea, and that's how I basically got to learning how to code. I learned on my own. I got my first internship at Yelp as a software engineer on the Android team, did another one, then did an internship at Airbnb, and then came back to Airbnb after I've graduated from University of Waterloo with a chemical engineering major. I never dropped it, and I picked up a computer science minor in the end of the day, mostly for visa paperwork. And so after graduating, I moved to work at Airbnb full time. There, I worked as a software engineer for almost 3 years, and then transitioned into a chief of staff role first, and then into a product management role, which I am in right now. I work on a government regulation team, which means that we're making sure that Airbnb is compliant all over the world. So it's a lot of interesting things with respect to regulations, with respect to compliance, with respect to working with legal and policy teams. Definitely a different experience, but that is what I'm doing now. I continued singing opera. I host opera concerts in San Francisco. And outside of that, I've started my YouTube channel, as you guys all know. I'm pretty active on Instagram. So if you don't follow me at Life of Luba with a double A at the end there. And I've also started TikTok. I'm Life of Luba on TikTok too. So if you prefer shorter form videos, definitely check that out. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, which laptop do you use? I use a Mac. My personal computer is MacBook Air, and my work computer is MacBook Pro. Okay, if you won the lottery and got $100 million, what would you really be doing with your life? If I won the lottery and had $100 million, I would start projects and companies. I would go to university not as a major in something, but just take independent courses that I was interested in. For instance, in any school, you can go and just like pay money per course and study anything you want. So I would probably take a bunch of courses on different arts. I would take classes on machine learning and AI. I would take classes on probably fashion and design. Basically, just go and like get super well rounded at school. In my university, there was a huge focus on engineering, so most of the classes I took were engineering based or science based. So I feel like I kind of missed out on taking some of these just literature and arts and economics, etc. So I would love to spend time doing that, and then I would probably just work hard at the projects that I would launch. But saying that, I actually think that you can pursue all of that without the $100 million. Now I'm working on the side projects, I'm taking online classes. It's just that I have a little less time to invest into it, into, let's say, go into school fully, like 100% of time. But that's something that I would probably do. Okay, next question. Someone said you really inspired me. I'm actually going to move on to the chat. You guys have been super, super active in the chat, so I really appreciate that. Let's see what everyone's saying. Okay, Veronica is asking, which one do you recommend? Study a career of software at the university or go to a bootcamp? Hi from Paraguay. Wow, my audience is so international. Hello from California. Veronica, thank you for your question. I would actually evaluate everything based on a few different parameters. How much time do you have to invest in this program? University is usually 4 or 5 years. A bootcamp is about 3 months. How much money do you want to invest in this? And what is ultimately the opportunity cost? If someone is 18 years old and picking between a university and a bootcamp versus someone is, I don't know, 35 years old, already has a long career and just wants to make a transition. These are very, very different stages to be in. If someone's 18 years old, even though I now think that, you can learn anything that you learn in university on your own, but I do think that university allows you to have the community of people, to be exposed to a variety of different people. And that's something that you probably already have if you're a bit older. So if you're younger, and you're making this evaluation, and maybe I would nudge you to go to university. But if you're a bit older, I think boot camps are amazing. Boot camps allow you to quickly learn a skill in a short period of time, and to probably get a job immediately after. Of course, it's dependent on the amount of effort that you put in. But, again, time, how much time do you want to spend? How much money do you want to spend? How important it is for you to learn the theoretical foundations. If you go to university, since it's a 4-year program, you definitely spend a lot more time learning foundational things about software engineering and computer science. I was answering a question similar to that in the beginning. So after I post this live, you can scroll and find it. But yeah, based on these parameters, I would then make a decision about computer science versus bootcamp. Actually, another fellow YouTuber whose name is Mayuko, she launched a podcast called If Else, and one of the episodes in the podcast actually talked about computer science degree at a university versus a bootcamp. So I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's very, very well produced, and it will give you the right direction on how to think about it. Okay, Yogita is asking, what is your job right now? So right now I'm a product manager at Airbnb on a government regulation team. So someone is asking, Luba, what do you think current quarantine situation, how do you think quarantine situation can impact relocation offers? Unfortunately, it has already been impacting relocation offers a lot. A lot of companies froze their hiring. Some companies are deferring offers that some of the candidates who passed had. So unfortunately, the impact is quite significant. Having said that, there are still companies that are hiring. So if a company is in a good position with their finances and they're not as impacted by COVID, and these are companies I'm seeing now that do delivery, that do remote work, a lot of SaaS tools are still hiring. I would recommend you to look at those instead and just evaluate how the industry that the company is in is doing right now during this time. Like travel is doing pretty poorly. So I would not recommend you to look at travel companies right now. Companies that have very high operations cost are doing quite poorly. So just be smart about the companies that you look at and try to, put a lens of the quarantine and the pandemic on their business to evaluate how successful they're going to be long term, and then make a decision for where to apply. But yes, the impact has been quite significant already. Okay. Someone is asking, where are you from? I'm originally from Belarus. It's a country in Eastern Europe. Okay, Catherine Cabral is asking, I wanted to ask you, how to stop the mental load when working distantly? When you go to work, you can disconnect while at home, but at home, I think about work all the time. Yes, that can definitely be very challenging. Being at home, you have a harder time making these barriers and putting the barriers in for what is work and what is leisure time. So to combat that, I personally just set very clear guidelines for myself that, hey, I'm only working until this time essentially, and then after that time is over, and that's usually like 5:30, 6 p.m., I'm focusing on other things not related to work. So because I've been doing that for a while and I had implemented this mental framework even before the quarantine, I'm not having a hard time taking off the mental load. But for someone who hasn't done that, I understand, can be very challenging. So I would recommend you to be very, very strict with yourself and setting yourself these very strict barriers. And if your brain is trying to cross the barriers and still try to think about work, then just be very conscientious about it and be strict with yourself. So I would say that that is a first step in trying to separate the two and have more mental clarity between what is work and what is leisure. Let me know how it goes. Okay. Davide is asking, how, Luba, what do you think about recruiters during this period? How are they working? We should send resume now or later. Again, no one has stopped working generally. So if you were planning to apply for jobs, you should definitely do so. I'm actually planning to have an interview with a friend who was looking for a job during this time. So during this very tough time of, lots of companies not hiring or going on hiring freezes. And I'm gonna post a video with him and talking about his process of how it went, any tips that he has for you guys about finding a job during this tough time. So definitely don't stop applying. Don't give hope. Don't give up hope. We don't really know how long this will last. And, you shouldn't put your life on pause because of what's going on. Some recruiters are definitely more affected than others. Like some companies have laid off certain functions, recruiting included, because they might have put their hiring on freeze, so the recruiting is not as needed. But speaking of recruiters, I'm actually also doing an interview with a recruiter. It's a really, really amazing recruiter at Airbnb, actually, and she has a career in recruiting for over 8 years now. And I'm planning to talk with her about tips on how to look for a job right now, what recruiters are looking for generally, and what the state of the world is in terms of looking for a job. So definitely tune in for that. It's probably going to be original and Instagram live. So follow me on Instagram, Life of You. Someone wants some resume tips. Tune in for that live stream with the recruiter. I'm sure we're going to go over resume tips there as well. Wow, I see the chat is very lively. I appreciate you guys dropping in comments here. Someone is asking, Eric Gonzalez, hi, how can I get prepared for an interview in a company such as Intel or Airbnb? Some great resources to prepare for an interview and see what the interview is like is Glassdoor. If you're a coder, LeetCode. There's a ton of online classes now for practicing interview questions, and Glassdoor gives you an opportunity to see what the interview is really like how many interview rounds there are, etc. So definitely check that out. And honestly, just look for reviews and feedback from other people that went through the interview process to understand what it's like and what you need to prepare, and then start really spending a lot of time preparing the interview questions. If you're in a technical role, then it would be, live coding. If you're in a, let's say, product management role, it would be product management case studies. You would need to prepare presentations. So definitely look into how all of that works. So depending on the function, the interview process can be completely different. But Glassdoor is an amazing resource to figure out what the interview actually looks like for different functions. Okay. Teja is asking, hello, I did a bachelor's degree in CS. CS is computer science, and then had a little downfall. Didn't pursue further and didn't try out the jobs. If I use the lockdown time and learn some courses, would my career be back on track? Of course, it's very individual how much time you took off, etc. But I would say yes, generally. Use this downtime to sharpen your skills, to learn new skills, and to work on side projects. Again, if you're in computer science, software engineering, if you want to get back into the field, companies value side projects and hackathons so much. So spend your time figuring out what is it that you want to build and really building it. And of course, taking online courses if you need to brush up on any specific skills. But if you have a bachelor's degree already, I'm seeing a ton of dropouts. I myself didn't even study computer science full in school. I just have a minor in it. I have a major in chemical engineering. So I wouldn't really think that because you dropped out, it's like the end of the world. You have to put a cross on your career. That's not the case. How to get rid of procrastination. At the beginning of the video, I answered some questions about motivation, so check that out. But with procrastination, I think it's just organizing yourself well, setting yourself a good schedule, making your environment. And I mentioned this book, Willpower Doesn't Work, that talks about the philosophy of how it's the environments that impacts our habits. So making your environments fit with the goals that you have and making it, accelerate your learning and accelerate your progress is something that I would recommend to fight procrastination. Ivan Guriev is saying, exhale and inhale. I wonder if that's because I was just talking so fast. So thanks, Ivan, for looking out for my health. I will do that. Okay. Someone is Top Trendy is asking, nice nickname. Hi, Luba, I'm Kenyan and think of joining Google. Is it possible? Absolutely. Companies are hiring international folks. You got to look into other hiring right now to begin with. Are they going to be able to sponsor your visa? A lot of companies do, but look into that. And I would definitely say that don't give up. You can definitely get a job at Google as an international student. Google actually, as an international person. Google actually has offices all over the world. So, if you don't end up getting a job in the US, definitely look at their European offices, at their Eastern European offices. Yeah, they have plenty. So check it out. Okay. Looking for other questions to answer that are not repeating what I've already answered. What's the toughest conflicts you had with a colleague? That's a very interesting question. I'm very sensitive to conflicts. I really dislike conflicts, and I try to mitigate them as fast as I can. So I'm just sensitive to feeling tension in the room. I remember this one time, it actually didn't end up being a conflict, but I thought that this other person at work didn't like me, and I was so stressed out about it. I remember I was talking to my manager of like, hey, like maybe I'm stepping over like I'm doing the responsibilities that she has in her role, and she's very pissed off at me. And then he basically told me, one, to not overthink it, and two, just try to, just have a one-on-one with her, see how she's feeling in general about her role, see how I can help her, be very collaborative in how I approach projects with her, and just see what the vibe is and try to read, is there conflict actually, or is it just a conflict in my head? So I did that, and it turned out that she was just very overwhelmed with her day-to-day life and with her life outside of work. So it wasn't me at all. I thought that we had this conflict of me doing her job, but in reality, the other person was just not feeling great about their day to day, and it had nothing to do with me. So, lesson that I learned from that was to be very empathetic and put the other person, put yourself in the other person's shoes, and not make a ton of assumptions about what their life is like, but actually go and have an open conversation and figure out what is going on in their life, how are they feeling, what are they excited about to work on, so that we can figure out, how to work best together, because I can give her things that she's excited about. So yeah, definitely in just interpersonal communications, don't make a ton of assumptions coming from your own experiences, but have open conversations with people. And that will probably most likely help you avoid conflict, not completely, because conflict still arises, but it can diminish it. Okay. Oh, someone is asking me, why am I looking so tired? I didn't think I looked tired. Okay. I think I'm pretty well rested. I guess maybe I just don't look good. I don't know. Um, okay, guys. When you first went to internship, okay. Umit is asking, when you first went to do an internship, did they require much knowledge in software from you, or they wanted just some knowledge? They definitely required a lot of knowledge, because even as an intern, you have to go through an interview process that is very similar to a full-time interview process, just a little shorter. So you do live coding interviews, look at your resume. Obviously, they don't just take people who just want to learn how to code, or like want to be software engineers but don't actually have any skill or any knowledge about it. They want to have people who can execute still quickly, on par with the rest of the team, who can learn quickly. So you definitely need a certain base of knowledge for that. Of course, you if you're, let's say, just starting to learn, but you already have built a few things yourself and you feel like you're a quick learner, I would I would encourage you to apply for internships, and not think that you have to be of a certain bar of like classes that you took, etc. Just start trying early on, because getting your foot in the door early on will definitely help you get more proficient in how to interview and what companies are looking for later on in your career, and if you're a student in your university career as well. So yes, they do require knowledge, but you should not be discouraged from starting to apply. Oh wow, lots of comments. Someone is asking, please tell me your name. You can actually see my name on my channel. It's Life of Luba. Luba is my name. Okay, can you give some examples? Oh, Ruben is asking, Luba, can you give some examples of how Airbnb uses machine learning? Great question. A couple of examples. One, pricing. We have a lot of pricing models that optimize what price you should price your listing at. So it's a smart pricing feature that is facing the user. And ultimately, there's a lot of machine learning models that analyze data trends and price trends to spit out that number for how you should price your listing. When I worked on the fraud team, a team that basically dealt with different realms of fraud, financial fraud, content moderation, account takeover. That team runs a lot of machine learning. They have a lot of machine learning models to predict people's behavior, whether they potentially are fraudulent or not. So essentially, whenever you would do something on the platform, machine learning models run to analyze what is the fraud score that you have, and what is the potential for you to commit fraud on the website, be it financial fraud or any type of other fraud. And then based on that, we actually evaluate, hey, are you a person that needs to be verified? You're a person that potentially is trying to host a party at your house. And then we would run machine learning algorithms on like the conversation that you would have with the user. So there's essentially a lot of different machine learning applications that you would never even have thought of that a company like Airbnb would use. Okay. Teja is asking, I'm brushing up on the basics from Codecademy. What are your opinions on data science, and is it a related course on Codecademy? Okay, I'm not really sure what the Codecademy course on data science teaches, but I love Codecademy personally, so I would imagine that the course is great. No matter what course you take there, it's very well put together. It's very interactive. I would just generally recommend checking out Codecademy. I think data science is super, super relevant right now in the world where there is more and more data, and companies are taking the stance of analyzing more of our data to make their own business decisions and to make these decisions on how they should develop the product moving forward. Data science as a profession will be very, very in demand. So if that's the pivot that you want to take outside of your software engineering career, that's great. And why not take data science classes, even if you're not trying to become a data scientist? I am personally planning to take an intro to machine learning, which is not exactly data science in and of itself, but it's a subset of data science in the next coming days. So I think that's understanding of data science is something that would be useful for you no matter what function you're in, whether it be a technical function or a business function. Okay. Mary B is asking, hello, Luba. Can you say something about Portnov Computer School in LA? I've heard different opinions. I want to go there from Russia to study to become a QA engineer. I have personally met Mikhail Portnov. He has a YouTube channel called Silicon Valley Voice. He was a wonderful human being. I had an interview with him, he interviewed me for his channel, and he was a lot of fun. And I don't know, he just seemed great. And my friend Marina is actually friends with him too, and I trust her opinion. So I would say that he as a person is just a great human being. For his school specifically, to be honest, have zero insight on whether the school is good or not. So I would recommend just checking the reviews, and sounds like you already done that. What you should do, you should pick someone on LinkedIn, or just do a search on the internet to see if you can find someone who studied in his school, and see what their career progression was afterwards. What do they personally have to say about the school, and how you can apply what you hear from them on your specific situation, on whether this school will bring you to where you want to be. So that's what I would recommend doing if you wanted to find more about whether you should, really explore going to this QA testing school. Wow, this person in my chat is going crazy. Hi, ma'am, please tell me your name. I've already answered this question. Ashish, my name is Luba. So, yes, SpaceX is also asking. Yeah, anyway. Maria is asking, hi, Luba, I know Python, but what would you recommend me to learn next? ML, AI, data science. I would recommend you to learn... Oh my God, I'm blanking. I would recommend you to first figure out what is it that you want to do in the future. What is your North Star? Where do you want to get? Do you want to become a machine learning engineer? Do you want to be in business development? Do you want to be a product manager? And then figure out what are the things that you need to learn to get there. If it's a machine learning engineer, then yeah, probably makes sense to take a machine learning class. If you want to work in AI, augmented reality, I don't know, like these futuristic things related to how we're going to augment more of our intelligence onto machines, then yeah, maybe you should take AI or machine learning. So basically, first, figure out what you want to do high level, and then reverse engineer to figure out what courses you need to take, what people you need to talk to, which events you need to go to, which new skills or projects that you need to work on. That's how I would approach this. That's how I would approach this problem statement of what course I should be taking. Okay, guys, I think my voice is getting kind of tired, and see, I'm already starting to stumble on my answers to the questions. So I think we're going to be wrapping up this live. I see that there are still more questions in the chat. I will try to do more of these, or try to make a video on specific topics that I'm seeing pop up more than others in this chat. So I thank you guys so much for joining me today. Someone's asking super chats. Is super chats the feature that YouTube has where you either have to pay, or I as a creator, I think, have to enable super chats for certain people to participate? Let me look into that. Okay, SpaceX is still having a conversation with Ashish Patel. Okay, anyway. Sorry, I'm just still reading comments to see if I have the energy and the voice to answer anything else. I see Ashish Patel is going crazy with his, hi ma'am, please tell me your name. And Nikhil, okay, Nikhil has asked this question like 1,000 times, so I'm going to answer it. How to get freelancer project in Python? Okay, Upwork is a great platform to look for projects. I would recommend you to check out Upwork. I personally have hired and fired developers on Upwork. I'd also recommend you to check out Fiverr. So these are the two freelancer platforms that come to my mind immediately. But there is a ton of Facebook groups. There is a ton of Reddit subreddit groups where people are looking for developers to help out on projects. So I would recommend you to be proactive and check out those platforms to see if there is an opportunity you can find there. But if you're not at the level where people are willing to give you the job, which might be the case, I would recommend you to start offering help for free. I understand that free is not paid. However, free will help you learn, will help you get exposed to people in the industry or people that are like-minded and want to build stuff with you. You might be able to learn. You might be able to learn new skills. You'll be making new friends, and who knows? Maybe that person will refer you to someone who actually has a paid opportunity. So these are the steps that I would take if you're looking for a freelancer project in Python. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up, guys. Um, I thank you guys so much for joining. As I said, I'm gonna do another live. I'm gonna post some more YouTube videos. If you're not following me on Instagram, follow me at Life of Luba with a double A. If you're not following me on TikTok, my new hobby, follow me on TikTok at Life of Luba as well. I also started being a little more active on Twitter. I'm Luba Udasina, so my last name, my first name, and last name there. And I'm also posting some more on LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn as well and follow the post there. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Stay healthy, stay inside, be productive in this downtime of being at home, spend time with your family and with your loved ones. And hope you're staying productive and motivated as always. Bye for now.